It's Heather here with Earth Empress. Today I'm just going to do something a little different. I don't typically just go straight into talks. I usually will set and throw some cards down, but this channel is something that's really important to me, and I want to be able to discuss more than just readings. I'd love to get input from you guys. Anything you want to discuss, any topics you come across that you find interesting, definitely send them my way. This one in particular is going to be mostly about, I guess, a little about me and how I came to my awakening and the gifts that at the time growing up as a child I never really honed into. It was things that were always there, from being able to physically see spirits and then also have them communicate with me, and not being able to discern, okay, this is spirit talking more directly to me versus this is my subconscious or this is my conscience, things like that as a kid. I hear that a lot of readers out there tend to have these experiences as a child, especially metaphysically speaking, whether it's seeing spirits, feeling certain ways, deja vu, things like that. So if any of you guys out there, any of you subs out there, have had these experiences yourself, I would love to hear stories about them. I can recall being 5 or 6 years old and seeing my great-great-grandmother. Never seeing a picture of her, never knowing what she looked like. She lived in Greece, and obviously I'm here in America. So there was really no way of traveling over there for me. But I distinctly remember and clearly remember coming across her one night and mentioning it to my grandmother Ollie at the time. And she was very taken aback, almost. She was very a little shocked, like, how? There were no photographic evidence when they came over here, for what her physical features and her attributes were like. They came over here, and when they came, they brought nothing with them. You travel like that, you don't really bring a lot. And so my great-great-grandmother was kind of not left behind, but she didn't make the journey. So, for me to know things like that at a young age, or to be able to connect with certain spirits that passed on and just feel like I knew, like I would look at a picture and I would just know. Or I would know without looking at any pictures what someone's features were, but mostly what their soul was like, what their essence was. And that's when I realized, even at a young age, 7, 8 years old, that I could feel energies from people, and I couldn't quite put a finger on it. I'd come across people, and they always say listen to your intuition, and as an adult you definitely hone into that, but as a child, not knowing why someone rubs you the wrong way, they just rub you the wrong way, was a little bit harder to, I guess, experience growing up. Because I couldn't really follow the crowd. I couldn't really throw myself into situations and things with people that felt wrong, because unlike everyone else that was distracted by things, I felt it. I felt it was wrong. I felt the situation was wrong, and it warranted, someone packing up, leaving, going. Things weren't going to go right. But it also helped me a lot, especially in high school, teenage years, growing up, things like that. Everyone always gets into trouble. Well, I was always the mom. I always took care of other people. I always helped heal them. I always took their energy. I always absorbed things from them in order for them to feel better within themselves. And that's a big thing to take on, especially when you are trying to figure out yourself, who you are. You become so absorbed with who everyone else is, you kind of lose that. For me, it was just natural. It was a natural inclination to help, to provide, to comfort, to heal, and then to keep the eye out and feel situations out and, go out with my friends. And I remember going places, and as teenagers, you all drink and you do things, and I just didn't. I was there. I was always there, actually, gauging the situation, making sure my friends were okay, making sure everyone was all right and things were okay. And if something seemed off, or if it seemed like it was going a certain way, I immediately just snapped into action and, no, we're not doing this, or no, we're gone, or no, we can't be here, or this isn't going to work. And not being able to really explain why. And then now, as an adult, you kind of realize that spirit always, and your guides especially, mine have always been around me. I've had 3 with me since birth and 2 joined on the journey since then. And the 3 that have always been with me, I've always felt them. I've always had a nudge to not do things or to be in certain situations at certain times or to get out of situations at certain times. And that's kind of something I feel like a lot of experience as well. You've always felt like you knew, but you couldn't explain how you knew. You just knew. You knew you weren't supposed to be there. Or you knew you couldn't go in this situation. Or you knew that you had to get out of there. And then you find out, okay, something happened there. Or you were at a place and had you been there 10 minutes earlier, it would have been completely different. I don't know, things like that. Deja vu especially a lot. I still get that consistently, constantly. Dream state wise, it's wide open. Anything spirit sends me, I absorb it in. Any messages I get. That's why today I was felt guided to sit and speak and just speak as myself, as who I've been on this journey and where I'm headed and how I've healed a lot. My life growing up, I grew up with a mom that she wasn't completely open. I feel like a lot of, especially I'm an INFJ. I don't know, who's into Myers-Briggs and things like that, but I am an INFJ. So right away, I'm already less than 1% of the population. I'm a unicorn. So feeling accepted and, welcomed and revealing who I was as is was already difficult enough. But I did grow up with a mom that, though she loved me and I had no questions whether she loved me or not, she was never open. She didn't know how to express emotion. She didn't know how to accept emotion. She didn't know how to handle any of those situations, and that stemmed from her childhood and her healing that did or didn't take place. And then my father, on the other hand, he was a very damaged soul. He came into this world with someone that was abusive and angry and aggressive. And so, of course, my father battled within himself whether or not to pick up those traits or to set them down. And a lot of the times, those that battle go to alcohol and drugs. And that's exactly what my father did. He went straight to alcohol. And that was what he used to numb the trauma that he had, that he couldn't accept. Even today, bless my dad, I do. Because I have children of my own, and they have a great relationship with their grandfather now. Because he did finally overcome some demons. But to this day, he still has that in the back of his mind, that thought process. And I'm like, Dad, we can't. We have to look at things a different way. We can't just react all of the time. You take things in, you absorb it, and then you react, and you don't come from a place of immediate emotional or temperamental or environmental reaction, You absorb things and you take it in, and then you decide, within yourself, knowingly, okay, this is what we're going to do about this situation and this. And for my father, that's always been a battle. As a child, it was never a battle. My problem was always overthinking everything. I saw 20 ways to get one thing done, and I never knew which way I wanted to go or which way felt, right. I had to get in tune, I guess, internally, especially to kind of feel like I could trust my guidance and feel like, even if there's a million ways to do something, well, if you just sit, listen, be still, you can actually figure out your path and what way you're supposed to go. I'm not a guidance coach by any means, but I do love to connect with people and hear their life stories. And sometimes I feel like the best way to go through and heal something is sometimes to get your story out there, to be able to talk to someone, to be able to open up and share things that you've been through and things you've overcome in your life, and to get a different perspective sometimes too. I mean, that helps a lot. Sometimes you don't realize you have a wound that's even there. And then someone says, well, wow, you overcame that. And to you, it's no big deal. You don't feel like you overcame a lot. It just felt like the usual, but someone else looks at it from an entirely different perspective, and they, wow, you're strong, you're powerful. Like, how could you deal with this stuff in your life? And that's me. That's who I aim to be. That's who I want to be in this channel. That's who I want to be in life. I want to be a light. I want to be able to discuss stories with people and find things out and help them and guide them any way I possibly can. Any insights I get, any intuitive messages I get, I love to share. And discussing things with people like that, it's just, I want to be able to inspire people to realize that, you know, the healing that they've done and the strength that they have, that to overcome everything that life's thrown your way, it's for a great purpose. And it really is. It does. You know, I had a childhood full of trauma between physical, mental abuse, and then an instance of sexual abuse for a few years from a family friend. And as a kid, I even had the conscious mind to not tell anyone, not out of fear, but because I knew that if my family found out, and you keep in mind, I'm from Texas. My brothers, I have 5 older brothers and 2 older sisters. And my dad was not aware as well. With all of those factors, someone would have ended up doing something that would have jeopardized their future. And as a kid, I had the frame of mind to say, okay, well, you know, and it's crazy to think that at 5 years old, you know, I'm not going to say anything. And for me, it wasn't fear-based. It wasn't someone was going to hurt me or someone's, you know, and for a lot of people it is. For a lot of trauma, that's what it is. They are so afraid, or they feel ashamed, or they feel like, you know, that's their fault. And really for me, it was none of those things. It was, I knew that someone would end up doing something that would change their life for something that happened to me. And I never spoke to a soul about anything until I was about 17 years old. You know, and it took me going through counseling and speaking with someone and being open about things and realizing, you know, all of these walls that I had built up, the disconnections that I had with people, that it was so easy for me to walk away and to shut people out and to, you know, just clean my hands of things. It was always so easy growing up for me. And as much as it would hurt my heart, you know, it's not that I wasn't emotionally invested in things, or I couldn't, but I could never fully become invested in anything because the trauma that I had was still there, and I still had the wound that I have to be able to walk out of a situation and pull my emotions out of it. I have to. It was not, I thought it was a natural subconscious reaction to anything that came my way. Was at the end of the day, I have to be able to protect myself because I wasn't protected as a child. So for me, that was a big forming in my life, because I made a conscious decision when I hit about 18, 19 that I forgave the person for it. And I made the conscious decision that what someone else did in my life was no longer going to control me or my life. And that's, you know, my road to healing somewhat began then. I started making better choices. I started being more self-aware, self-assertive, not letting people take advantage of me, being able to connect with others, and realize that compromise was not a bad thing, because I was very stubborn and I did not like compromise, and it stemmed from a place of hurt. It stemmed from a place of me wanting to be in control at all times, and you can't always be in control, and universe has kicked me in the ass many times about that, so many times, because you're not in control. You choose your path, and you choose which way you go, and you have free will. Do not get me wrong, and that's not what I'm saying at all, but I am saying that at the end of the day, all of the things that you've had that have shaped you have not always been just in your hands. And it has shaped me for the greater good. Things I went through as a child shaped me for the greater good. I connected with people over the years that have been through trauma, that have been through just earth-shattering, damaging things. And just seeing the strength and being around people that just get it and they feel it, and seeing them, you know, overcome their guards that have been let down and their hearts that have been broken. And, you know, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to witness and to help people realize things like that as well. I have a few friends of mine that they like to call me Sunshine Sally, which I guess is kind of my nature. I am Taurus, and then I have the Libra moon, and then I have a Cancer ascendant. So it's just like I just love people. I just want to mother and love and be genuine and care. But that Libra moon helps me pull out of my emotions from time to time when I need to, and get my mind clear, which is great. It is. I do like for everything to be in balance. I love to heal and balance people. That's my big thing. I love to connect and talk and discuss. So I can help someone kind of heal and balance out and look at things from a different perspective and say, okay, you know, growing up, I had this conditioning and I never realized that from this perspective, it's hindering me in this way, or it's holding me back in this way. And you overcome things like that and you push forward, and it's beautiful. I mean, healing is ugly though. Don't get me wrong, healing is very ugly. It's not always pretty. It's not always a package. It's not all wrapped in a nice little package with a bow on it. It gets pretty gritty. You dig through a lot of junk and muck. But the end result of when the mud and the junk have been, you know, picked through and pulled through and healed and fixed and the foundation set beautifully, you know, you come out of there shining brighter. The light just kind of glows from within. I love seeing that in other people. I love seeing someone go from the darkest, deepest, murky waters to literally coming through themselves, realizing the strength they have in themselves, and then pulling themselves out of it, working on their inner wounds, and then shining like a fucking bright light. Like that is what it's about, because things that we overcome in this life, they are for our greater good. As much as someone might disagree with me, that's fine. You completely entitled to your own opinion, but for me, I feel like everything that I have been through in my life and seeing others and experiencing things with them in their lives, it's served a greater purpose, because I wouldn't be the person I am. They wouldn't be who they are today had it not shaped them into this soul that was kind and caring and compassionate. Because the ones with the biggest hearts, we always get hurt the most in life. That's how it works. But it's because we learn our own power within our hearts. We learn that love is the answer, that it is the way. I'm not really sure what else to put out there, guys. I am an avid into astrology as well. I love tarot. I love astrology. I love numerology. I love charts. I work with houses. I can look at, you know, that's how this all started for me. My awakening. I've always had a fascination with astrology, metaphysical things, but I never really hopped into this area and got in tune, so to say. And then a few years back, I hit I hit twin flame. And for me, that was the trigger I needed to head on my path. As soon as that moment happened, and it's not some romantic big star-crossed, like, oh my goodness thing. It's just not. But for me, it completely changed things, because I started getting downloads and I started getting synchronicities, and I started paying more attention and being more mindful in the moment and noticing when things were coming my way. And that's been a game changer for me, definitely. And so now there's no denying that we're all sent signs, we're all sent messages, we all have divinity inside of us. It's coming into it and owning it and becoming who you are and who you're meant to be and what your soul's purpose is. That kind of sets the antenna out of intention, saying, okay, it's open now. Come on in. It's fine. Just come on in, talk to me, send me whatever you want to, and I'm going to work through it. So, yeah, guys, I guess that's it. If anyone has any questions, comments, definitely like, subscribe. I would really appreciate it, guys. I'm really trying to get this out there, because I do. I want to help as many people as I possibly can. And any of you, if you need anything, send messages, shoot them my way, please, please, please. Feel free to just send me something saying, hey, look, this is what I had in my life. This is what, you know, and you don't have to. It doesn't have to be some big blurb if you don't want to put it out there. You know, just simple, you know, hey, how are you doing? Like, things, you know, I'm on the same path. I'm becoming enlightened. I'm having this. I'm having that. I'm having downloads. Any questions, anything like that, definitely send them my way. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to get out of here. Love and light sent your way.